Hello everyone, I'm going to do a quick overview for Kiborg. I was given a review key by the developer. Quick way to describe this game would be it's like Batman Arkham Combat, but with more depth, and it's also a roguelike. So, you get all those wonderful things you like. You got your meta progression over here, you've got weapons and builds and stuff, but first let's go over the combat a little bit. So you've got light and heavy attack, and you can combine them in different ways to get different chains, and the chains also have like elemental effects, or they'll knock the enemy down, so it's not just mashing buttons. If you mash light attack in this game, you actually get punished for it, which I think is a good thing. I do think the punishment can be a little bit strict sometimes, because sometimes the elite enemies will hit you out of the middle of a combo and there is no dodge offset. But go ahead and go over the moveset here. So you have all these moves here, and if you go into the meta progression over here, which is also very expansive, you can see there's a lot in here. I've only got about 1.5 of the trees done. As you can see down here, these cause status effects, so you actually want to vary your combos quite a bit, and I'm still kind of getting used to that. You can see there's lots of meta progression here. These over here are your R1s. You get one that knocks enemies over, you get one that heals you. You also get a mine, which helps with crowd control. And up here is mostly health. Over here is stuff for like things in the run, like extra implants, extra money, and stuff like that. And over here are the melee weapons. So I think the meta progression tree is a little bit too grindy, and the game can be too difficult without it, especially at the start. But it is nice how it's arranged so that you can choose what to focus on. If you want to focus on melee, you go down here. If you want to focus on your active abilities, you go over here to the right. Then over here is like mid-run stuff, extra stuff for your implants. Up here is health. In case you have a dodge, pretty standard stuff. You see over there, those little blue and yellow chunks. Those are your stamina, and those are used for both dash attacks, which I'll get into shortly, and your dodge. Now, you also need them to parry, which I actually think is the worst thing about this game. There's a lot of procs and stuff and abilities that encourage you to parry, but when you block, it takes certain parts of the shield, and you may not have a certain number of shields to actually parry the attack, at which point you get hit. So you really have to pay attention to it, but to be honest with you, if they had an accessibility feature to remove that, I would like the game a lot more. It feels too restrictive. Sometimes it feels like the game really wants you to parry, but you're always limited by the stamina system. Luckily, there is no stamina for attacking, except for when you do dash punches like this. You know how Batman does that in the Batman Arkham games? He just kind of, despite being the regular guy in a bat costume, he can just kind of teleport across the field. In this game, it actually costs stamina. So you have a light one, which counts as the first part of a combo. Like this combo right here is light, medium, light, light, or X, Y, X, X. But if I do the dash attack and Y, X, X, it still comes out. So you definitely want to use that. Definitely want to use that to get to the combo you want. Unfortunately, you can't do it off heavy attack. I guess you can do stuff like this. And you can't guard cancel that either. There's a bunch of other things here. There's your circular attacks, which you use for crowd control. There's also a bunch of combos off that. I already explained the block and parry. You have guns in this game as well, but they're more of like emergency side weapons. Over here you can see there's unlockables in the game. I've unlocked the Bloody Palace equivalents. Got a bunch of the armor sets here. You get more weapons and some cosmetics as well. Cosmetics are over here. I don't have many of them unlocked though. Anyway, let's go ahead and show a bit of the gameplay loop. Before I continue here, I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm doing this before release, and they've been putting out a major patch like every day. So my apologies if anything I say here does not apply when you do decide to purchase the game, but I kind of want to get this out before release, and I haven't really been given any information on what these patches entail, so I'm just going to go off my experience from the past several hours playing the game. Alright, anyway, moving on. What this is that you're implants, so basically you're a cyborg in this game, and your main gear are the implants. So like right here, you get a torso that gives you regeneration. This one is built around using sidearms, and this one's for movement, attack speed, and building around your combo chain. So we're going to go ahead and go with this. You know I love my attack speed. Later on you unlock implants like this one, which is like a higher rarity. It'll have higher stats on it. Alright, so this is pretty standard stuff.
The fight is over!
You kill stuff in a room and you get upgrades, but there is a little bit more to it. I'll go ahead and explain as many of the room types as I can up until I get to the first boss, because I don't know if they made the game any easier, but it is quite difficult. I also don't want the video to be too long. I think getting to the first boss is enough to show the gameplay loop. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. You get a meta currency when you die or finish a run, and you know, you get to spend that and continue. In any case, this right here is your money. You can use those at stores or at the bar before a boss to give yourself buffs. And this is for a melee weapon. I actually don't really like the melee weapons in this, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the money. Sorry. I have to check something really quick. Alright, so this right here I think is called an Enhancements, where I can go for more money. Let's go ahead and show an Enhancement. Enhancements actually tend to go off things you've already picked, which I think is one of the more original things about the upgrade component of this game, because it means you have a lot more choice than you get in other games like Warriors Abyss I was playing today. You know how bad the RNG can be in that game. Nice to have some control over it. Okay, so those guys are basically Dynasty Warriors officers. When you beat them, you'll collect their parts. Alright, so, let's see here. I actually don't like that one. It increases the lag too much. Let's see here. Alright, let's go ahead and get another enhancement. Melee weapons are standard beat-em-up fare. They're definitely better than your average beat-em-up, but it seems kind of hard to build around them.
Successful fight.
Alright, let's try to get an implant upgrade here.
I smell blood.
Alright, so that was an implant upgrade, meaning that the implants have levels and you can choose to upgrade them as you see fit. Alright, so this is a basically lottery, but as you can see here, the rates are pretty bad. I definitely don't recommend taking them if you're barely hanging on. We're going to take this one because I think it should have an elite enemy. Call them officers if you want. This is a Muso channel after all.
Let's begin.
That was a little rough. That enemy's kind of janky. Enemy is actually really janky. Like sometimes you block and you still get hit, it seems. Alright. Should be boss next, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and there's a bar, and then there's also this meditation place where you can heal. Got a decent amount of money, so let's go ahead and go here. There you go. That's basically the gameplay loop of... Sorry, I can't think. of Kiborg. Past this point, you just keep going through bosses and levels and stuff like that, and you get more powerful and stuff. The bosses can be a little bit janky sometimes. Sometimes it feels like your parry doesn't work, or... I don't really know how to describe it, but the game... I think this game is pretty good, but... They'll probably get a lot of feedback when they fully release the game. I left a bunch of feedback after they gave the review key. I definitely noticed the game is a little bit easier now, which I think is good, because for a game like this, you got to make sure that people are invested to do the meta progression and accept dying. Otherwise, you know, they're going to get bad reviews and stuff. So I think they're definitely improving the game in the right direction. I wasn't really sure when to make this, because they keep doing updates like every day, but I think it's only a day before embargo lifts. That's probably good enough for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. I believe the game is going to be $30. Now, on one hand, that might be a little bit steep, because the only roguelikes that are that expensive are like, you know, Hades and stuff. This game definitely doesn't have that much content. It's really going to depend on how they decide to expand upon it. Like, will they add, like, more implants, more melee weapons, more like mutators and stuff. I think that would really go a long way, but $30 for this, I mean, it's really going to depend. Do you like Batman Arkham combat with, as you can see here, there is some light ranged combat. It's Batman with a gun. Cyborg Batman with a gun. If you like that kind of gameplay loop, you might enjoy it, but the price may be a little bit steep for some, so it's really going to depend on what you're looking for. I can definitely see myself playing this game more, but I definitely have been frustrated with some of the decisions that they made, like status effects being too strong, bosses being too tanky. I'm glad that the bosses are less tanky now, but we'll see how it goes when I finish this run, but I'm not going to show you guys that for better or for worse. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to the developers for the review key, and I'll go ahead and post a link to the game in the description, so you can go ahead and add it to your wish list. It will be out on the 30th, so go ahead and add it to your wish list if you're interested. I'll let you know as soon as it's available. Thanks for watching.